Nobody wanted waypoint 7. That was the first thing Petra Holloway learned when she read her transfer orders. The station sat at the edge of nowhere, built from spare parts and bad decisions. 3 different construction styles made it look like a mechanical monster stitched together by a drunk surgeon. The supply shuttle dropped her off without ceremony. The pilot did not even wait for the airlock to fully close before speeding away. Inside, the station smelled like rust and recycled air. Petra carried her bag through empty corridors until she found the command center. There, an insectoid alien stood waiting. His shell was gray with age, and his 4 eyes watched her with something that looked like hope. "Lieutenant Holloway," he said, "I'm Commander Rillick. Welcome to our training facility." Petra looked around the cramped room. "Training facility? My orders said this was a supply depot. Your orders were simplified. Cool, mate. Let me show you why you are really here." Rillick led her to a cargo bay converted into a training arena. Inside stood 37 aliens of 12 different species. Some were small as cats. Others towered over Petra. All of them looked terrified. "These are your students," Rillick said. "Students? I'm a combat instructor. These are civilians. They're soldiers." Or they were. Each one was dismissed from their homeworld's military. Rillick's mandibles clicked softly. "The small one there, Corvus, has 4 arms and can track 8 targets at once. But he freezes under pressure." The reptile female, Gora, was expelled for showing mercy to wounded enemies. The old one, Keth, joined because his grandchildren live on a nearby colony. Petra studied them. They shifted under her gaze, uncomfortable and uncertain. Why do they need human training? Because human training is different. Your species does not break soldiers through fear and punishment. You build them through purpose. Rillick paused. "Also, because we are going to be attacked soon." Petra's body went still. "Explain." Rillick pulled up a holographic display. It showed ship formations at the edge of sensor range. Petra recognized the pattern immediately. "Raider fleet. Attack configuration." "How long?" she asked. "Unknown. Days. Perhaps less." "And our defenses?" 40 years old. Partially functional. Petra looked at the recruits again. They had stopped fidgeting. They were watching her now, waiting to see what she would do. "Why did you request humans specifically?" she asked. "Because I have seen what human training creates. Not warriors who fight for glory or fear of punishment. Warriors who fight because they cannot bear to see their companions fall." Rillick's old eyes met hers. "I need you to make them into something their own worlds never could." Petra thought about refusing. She thought about calling for evacuation. Then she looked at Corvus, the 4-armed alien who could not stop shaking. She looked at Gora, the reptile who loved too much. She looked at old Keth, who had nothing left to lose except the children he would never abandon. "All right," she said, "but we do this my way." She stepped into the training arena. The recruits backed away from her, still unsure. "My name is Lieutenant Petra Holloway. I am human. My species comes from a planet that tried to kill us every day of our evolution. We survived because we learned one simple truth." She paused, letting them absorb her words. "The person beside you is more important than the enemy in front of you." Corvus raised a trembling hand. "But we are not strong. We are not brave. That is why our worlds rejected us." Petra smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who had seen worse odds and survived. "Your worlds measured strength wrong. They trained you to fear failure. I'm going to train you to fear something else entirely." She pointed at each of them in turn. "I'm going to teach you to fear losing the person standing next to you. Because once you feel that fear, you will fight harder than any soldier who only fears death." The recruits exchanged glances. Something shifted in the room. Not confidence. Not yet. But maybe the beginning of it. Behind Petra, the station's old sensors gave a warning ping. The Raider fleet had moved closer. She had days. Maybe less. 37 broken soldiers. A station held together by hope and rust. It would have to be enough. "Training begins now," she said. "We have a lot of work to do." The first training session was a disaster. Petra tried everything she knew from standard military training. She shouted commands. She demanded discipline. She pushed them through combat drills. Within an hour, half the recruits were trembling and 3 had hidden behind cargo containers. Corvus stood frozen in the middle of the arena, all 4 arms wrapped around himself like armor against his own fear. Petra stopped. She took a breath. She realized she had made a terrible mistake. These were not human soldiers. Their species had not evolved through competition and predator threats. Their brains worked differently. Fear did not sharpen them. It shut them down. She needed a new approach. "Everyone stop," she called out. "Forget everything I just said. We are starting over." Sergeant David Okonkwo, her second in command, walked over with a raised eyebrow. His prosthetic arm gleamed under the station lights. "Change of plan. Complete restart. Watch this." Petra approached Corvus slowly. The 4-armed alien flinched at her presence. Up close, she could see his species had evolved as prey animals. Large eyes, nervous reflexes, every instinct telling him to run. "Corvus," she said gently, "look at me." He forced himself to meet her eyes. "I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to punish you. I want to ask you one question." She pointed at Gora, the reptile female across the room. "If raiders came through that door right now and attacked her, what would you do?" Corvus blinked. I would try to help her." "Why?" "Because," he struggled with the words, "because she showed me kindness when I arrived. She shared her food when mine was stolen. She matters to you." "Yes." Petra nodded. "Then forget about being brave. Forget about being strong. I want you to imagine those raiders coming for Gora. Not for you. For her. What happens in your body when you think about that?" Something changed in Corvus's posture. His 4 arms uncurled. His large eyes narrowed. For a moment, he did not look like prey at all. "I feel angry," he said, surprised. "That is the feeling we're going to train. Not courage. Protection." She turned to face all the recruits. Most had crept closer, curious about the change in atmosphere. "Your homeworlds trained you wrong. They try to make you fear punishment, fear failure, fear your commanders. Humans learned long ago that fear of pain makes soldiers break. Fear of losing someone you love makes soldiers unbreakable." Gora stepped forward. Her scales rippled with interest. "That is why I was expelled. I refused to let wounded enemies die. My commanders said I was weak." "Your commanders were idiots," David said, joining the conversation. "Compassion is not weakness. Compassion directed at your own people becomes the most dangerous force in the universe." Petra organized them into pairs, not random pairs. She watched how they interacted, who shared meals together, who talked during breaks. She matched them by connection, not by skill. Then she changed the drills. Instead of individual combat tests, she created scenarios where one partner was in danger and the other had to respond. The results were immediate and shocking. Corvus, who could not hold a weapon steady when defending himself, became a precise killing machine when Gora was threatened. His 4 arms tracked multiple targets with supernatural accuracy. Gora, dismissed for excessive compassion, channeled her protective instincts into devastating close combat. When David pretended to attack Corvus during a drill, she moved faster than any reptile Petra had ever seen. Old Keth, the massive elderly alien, found new strength when defending the smaller recruits. "I have grandchildren their age," he rumbled. "I cannot protect them directly, but I can protect these ones." By the end of the day, the transformation was undeniable. Not complete, not perfect, but real. Doctor Annika Strand, the station's medical officer, found Petra in the corridor that evening. "Interesting methods," she said. "Think it will work?" Petra watched the recruits walking together toward the mess hall, talking quietly, building bonds that would become unbreakable. "It has to work. We do not have time for anything else." Strand nodded and handed her a datapad. Long-range scans. The raider fleet moved again. Closer this time. Petra read the numbers. Her stomach tightened. "How long?" 18 hours. Maybe less. 18 hours to turn broken soldiers into warriors. Petra looked at her recruits one more time. They were laughing now, sharing stories, becoming the thing that would save them all. A family. "Then we better not waste a single minute," she said. War Chief Dross had raided 17 stations in this sector. None had lasted more than 2 hours that he stood on the command deck of his flagship, studying the holographic image of Waypoint 7. The station looked pathetic. Old construction, minimal defenses. Sensors showed mostly civilian traffic and a small group of what his intelligence called failed soldiers. Easy prey, he said, his clawed hand passing through the hologram. We will be done before the sleep cycle ends. Brekka, his second in command, moved closer. Deep scars covered half her face, mementos from a previous battle. There are humans on that station. 3 of them. Perhaps 4. Dross made a dismissive sound. What can 3 humans do against 3,000 raiders? I fought humans once, Brekka said quietly. On a colony world. We had superior numbers. Superior weapons. We lost 60 warriors taking 1 building. You are afraid of them. I'm cautious. Humans do not fight like other species. They do not retreat when they should. They do not surrender when they are beaten. They fight until they cannot move, and then they fight some more. Dross turned to face her fully. His species, the Krathani, valued strength above all. Brekka had earned her position through blood and victory. Her caution meant something. 3,000 against 3, he repeated. Even humans cannot change those numbers. Behind them, a door opened. 2 robed figures entered without sound. The silent. Nobody knew their true species. They wore masks that hid everything. They funded the Broken Maw Raiders and directed them toward specific targets. In return, they asked for certain acquisitions. The taller silent spoke in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. The vault beneath that station contains technology worth more than this entire fleet. Take the station. Open the vault. Bring us what is inside. And the defenders. Dross asked. Kill them all. Leave no witnesses. The silent departed as quietly as they arrived. Dross watched them go, then turned back to the hologram. You see, even the silent are not worried about the humans. Prepare the fleet. We attack in 18 hours. Brekka nodded, but her expression remained troubled. She remembered the colony world. She remembered the human soldier who kept fighting with 3 bullets in her chest. She remembered the way humans looked at each other before a hopeless charge, not with fear, but with something that looked almost like love. As you command, she said, but I will lead the first wave personally. If there are surprises, I want to see them firsthand. Across the void, on Waypoint 7, Commander Rillick finally told Petra the truth. They stood in a sealed room deep beneath the station. The walls were made of something older than any species in known space. In the center, a pillar of light pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. This is why the raiders are coming, Rillick said. This is why I needed human trainers. What is it? Petra asked. An ancient vault, built by a species that disappeared 1,000,000 years before my kind developed writing. Inside is, we do not fully know. Our scans suggest advanced technology, weapons, ship designs, things that could shift the balance of power in the entire sector. And the raiders know about it. Someone told them. The information was sold, we believe, by a corrupt official. Rillick's mandibles clicked with frustration. They will not stop until they have what is inside. Petra studied the pulsing light. Can we destroy it? Keep it from them. The vault is indestructible by any method we possess. And there is something else. Rillick touched a control. The light shifted, and a voice spoke that IT was ancient. Tired, but somehow still alive. I am a keeper. I have waited for worthy defenders. I have seen your preparations. Your methods are unexpected. Who are you? Petra demanded. I was the last guardian of my people. They placed my consciousness here to watch over their final gifts. I have watched civilizations rise and fall, but I have never seen warriors built from compassion before. Can you help us? I can offer guidance, knowledge, but the outcome depends entirely on the living. You must choose whether to fight or flee. Petra thought about her recruits, about Corvus finding his courage, about Gora's protective fury, about Old Keth's determination to shield the young. We fight, she said. The ancient voice seemed to smile. Then let me show you what my people knew about turning weakness into strength. The lessons began immediately. By morning, The station would be transformed into something the raiders never expected, but a trap built from love and defended by the broken. 17 hours remained. The station became a hive of desperate activity. Petra divided her recruits into teams based on their unique abilities. Every species brought something different to the defense. David worked with the technical crews, turning every corridor into a death trap. He planted explosive charges in maintenance tunnels and rigged doors to collapse on command. His prosthetic arm proved useful for reaching spaces too dangerous for organic limbs. This section here, he told Corvus, pointing at a junction. When raiders push through, we blow the supports. The ceiling drops. Anyone underneath becomes a stain. Corvus nodded, his four arms already working to place charges. And the ones who survive the collapse. That is where your team comes in. You hit them from behind while they are confused. Gora organized the defensive positions. Her species could sense body heat, and she used this ability to map optimal firing lines. Put the heavy weapons here, she instructed. The raiders will bunch up at this choke point. We cut them apart before they spread out. Old Keth took charge of protecting the medical station and evacuation routes. His massive bulk filled corridors designed for smaller species, creating a living wall. Nothing gets past me, he promised the younger recruits. You fall back to safety. I hold the line. The Sindari twins, Fel and Voss, had crystalline bodies that detected vibrations through solid matter. They became the station's early warning system, positioning themselves at key points to sense enemy movement through walls and floors. The tiny Valeshi scouts could fit through ventilation shafts. Petra assigned them to information gathering, crawling through the station's infrastructure to relay raider positions to Dr. Strand established a mobile medical unit that could move with the fighting. I will not sit safely while you bleed, she told Petra. Where the wounded are, I am. As the hours counted down, the ancient voice from the vault offered tactical insights. Your enemy expects you to defend from fixed positions. Move constantly. Strike what they do not expect. Vanish before they retaliate. Hit and run tactics, Petra agreed. Make them chase shadows. Your ancestors perfected this on their Deathworld. Predators learned to fear the prey that fought back. Commander Rillick watched the preparations with wonder. I have served in military organizations for 40 years. I have never seen anything like this. Like what? Petra asked. They're not just preparing to fight. They are preparing to protect each other. Every defensive position, every trap, every fallback route is designed to keep their companions safe. It is not strategy. It is love turned into warfare. That is the human way. We fight harder for family than for orders. The final hours approached. Radar showed the raider fleet splitting into 3 attack groups, surrounding the station to prevent escape. Petra gathered everyone in the training arena one last time. They looked different now. Not confident exactly, but resolved. Ready. I am not going to lie to you, she said. The numbers are against us. Many of us will not survive what comes next. But I want you to understand something important. She walked among them, meeting eyes, touching shoulders. You were thrown away by your worlds, called failures, told you were not good enough. But I have watched you these past hours. I have seen Corvus overcome fear that would break most soldiers. I have seen Gora's compassion become our greatest weapon. I have seen old Keth stand ready to die for people he met days ago. Her voice strengthened. You are not failures. You never were. You just needed someone to show you what you were fighting for. Corvus raised his hand. Lieutenant, what are we fighting for? Petra smiled. It was the right question. Look around you. Look at the faces beside you. That is what you are fighting for. Not glory. Not survival. The person next to you. When you feel afraid, when you want to run, remember one thing. If you fall, they lose someone who would have protected them. So you do not fall. You stand. You fight. You survive. For them. The recruits looked at each other. Bonds formed in hours became steel chains of loyalty. The station's alarms began wailing. The raiders had arrived. All positions, Petra commanded. Make them remember what we taught you. And so it began. The first breach came from the north docking bay. Raiders poured through the hull breach, expecting screaming civilians. Instead, they found a killing ground. Crossfire erupted from 3 hidden positions. The first wave died without firing a single shot. Brekka led the second wave personally. She stepped over raider corpses, scanning the smoke-filled corridor. Something was wrong. These were supposed to be failed soldiers. Rejects. Yet the tactical setup was professional. Precise, human. Push forward, she commanded. Overwhelm them. Her raiders charged. They made it 20 meters before Corvus triggered the ceiling collapse. Tons of metal and concrete buried 40 warriors instantly. Corvus emerged from a side passage with his team. For arms, for weapons, 8 targets eliminated in 3 seconds. They vanished into a maintenance shaft before reinforcements arrived. Brekka survived the ambush. Barely. She keyed her communicator with shaking hands. War Chief, they were ready for us. This is not what we expected. Dross's voice crackled back. Are 3 humans and some broken soldiers actually stopping you? They're not broken anymore. Someone fixed them. Across the station, David's demolition work proved deadly. Every corridor became a trap. Every doorway became a kill zone. Raiders advanced only to trigger explosions that sealed paths and separated units. Gora held the central junction with 15 defenders. 3 waves attacked. 3 waves failed. They keep coming, one of her soldiers reported, reloading frantically. Let them, Gora replied. Her reptilian eyes tracked movement through the smoke. Every raider who dies here is one who does not reach the medical bay, one who does not threaten our wounded. She thought about Corvus, about his gentle nature hiding such deadly capability, about how terrified she had been for him before the battle started. That fear now powered every shot she fired. The raiders adapted. They stopped using the main corridors and began cutting through walls. But the Valeshi scouts in the ventilation system reported every movement. Defenders repositioned constantly, always appearing where they were least expected. A doctor. Strand moved through the chaos with impossible calm. She treated wounded in the middle of firefights, dragging soldiers to safety with strength that surprised everyone, including herself. I was a field surgeon in 3 colonial wars, she told Petra during a brief lull. This is not my first battle. It will not be my last. Old Keth faced the heaviest assault. 50 raiders targeted the medical evacuation route, hoping to flank the main defense. They found one elderly alien blocking the corridor. Move aside, old one, the raider commander laughed. You cannot stop all of us. No, Keth agreed. But I can stop enough. He charged. When reinforcements arrived, they found Keth badly wounded, but still standing. Around him lay the bodies of 37 raiders. He had killed them with his bare hands. My grandchildren, he whispered before collapsing, must keep them safe. Petra commanded from the center, coordinating movements, directing counterattacks. The ancient voice from the vault provided real-time intelligence, tracking raiders through systems they did not know existed, but the numbers eventually told. Too many breaches. Too many raiders. Defenders fell back, then fell back again. Corvus's position was overrun. Surrounded by enemies, he looked at the detonator in his hand. If he triggered it, he would collapse an entire section. It would kill dozens of raiders. It would also trap him inside. He thought about Gora, about her protective rage, about how much she had given him simply by believing in him. For you, he whispered and pressed the trigger. The explosion sealed the eastern section. Corvus vanished beneath the rubble. Brekka finally cornered Petra near the vault entrance. I remember you now, the scarred raider said. I fought your kind before, on the colony world. Then you know how this ends. Petra replied. Yes, with your death. They fought. Brekka was faster, stronger, more experienced. She drove Petra back, landing blow after blow. But Petra had something Brekka lacked. People worth dying for. People she refused to fail. She held on. Barely. Buying time for the one thing that would change everything. Reinforcements were coming. She just had to survive long enough to see them arrive. From the rubble of the collapsed section, a hand emerged. 4 hands. Actually, Corvus pulled himself free, broken but alive. His species had evolved as climbers, and his instincts had found pockets of stability in the falling debris. Every muscle screamed in agony, but one thought drove him forward. Gora needed him. He limped toward the sounds of fighting. Near the vault, Brekka had Petra pinned against a wall. Blood ran from a dozen wounds on the human's body. But Petra's eyes never stopped burning. You trained them, Brekka realized, pausing her attack. These failures. You made them fight like humans. I showed them what they already had inside, Petra gasped. Something your kind will never understand. And what is that? Love. Brekka laughed. Love is weakness. Attachment makes soldiers hesitate. No, Petra straightened despite her injuries. Love makes soldiers unstoppable. Behind Brekka, the corridor filled with defenders. Gora led them, her scales scorched and cracked, but her eyes blazing. David followed with a broken arm held against his chest. The Sindari twins. The surviving Valeshi. 17 recruits who refused to let their commander die alone. And Corvus. Battered, bleeding, but standing, Brekka spun to face the new threat. Impossible. Your positions fell. We broke your lines. You broke our positions, Gora said quietly. You never broke us. They attacked together. Not as individuals seeking glory. As a family protecting their own. Gora's protective fury. David's calculated precision. Corvus's four-armed assault. The others supporting, covering, saving each other with every breath. Brekka fought brilliantly. She killed 2 defenders. Wounded 3 more. But for every strike she landed, 5 came back at her. These broken soldiers had become something she could not defeat. A unit. They captured her alive. Barely. War Chief Dross watched his raiders retreat from the vault chamber. His 3,000 had become less than 500. The station that should have fallen in 2 hours had turned into a nightmare. How? He demanded through his communicator. They were nothing. Failures. Rejects. Petra took the communicator from one of her soldiers. They were everything you could not see. You trained your warriors to fear death. We trained ours to fear losing each other. Which fear do you think burns hotter? Dross tried to flee. He made it to his shuttle before old Keth intercepted him. The elderly alien had dragged himself from the medical bay, held together by bandages and pure determination. My grandchildren live in this sector, Keth said simply, then broke the war chief's neck. The silent, watching from a distance, activated their failsafe. A remote detonator designed to destroy the station and everyone inside rather than let the vault fall into other hands. Corvus saw the warning light. He did not know what he was doing, but his 4 arms moved anyway. Instinct. Training. The need to protect his new family. The device had 7 disconnection points. 7 seconds to deactivate. For arms gave him just enough speed. The failsafe died with 2 seconds remaining. When Confederacy ships arrived an hour later, they found Waypoint, 7 damaged but standing. Of 37 recruits who had chosen to fight, 23 survived. Medals were offered. Every survivor refused. We did not fight for recognition, Gora said, speaking for all of them. We fought because Lieutenant Holloway taught us that strength is not about what you can destroy. It is about what you are willing to protect. The ancient voice from the vault offered its final gift. You have proven worthy. My people's knowledge is yours. Use it wisely. 6 months later, Waypoint 7 had been fully repaired and expanded. Petra now commanded the Confederacy's first integrated combat training program. Aliens from dozens of species arrived seeking the legendary Earth training. Corvus, fully healed and standing tall, welcomed each new class personally. Let me tell you, he would begin, about the time we were supposed to lose. About a handful of broken soldiers and 3 humans who taught us the most important lesson in the galaxy. The recruits would lean forward, eager. They taught us that being afraid does not make you weak. Running from that fear does. And if you find something worth protecting, someone worth fighting for, you will discover strength you never knew you had. He would smile then, thinking of Gora waiting for him after the lecture. Now, let us begin your training. We have a lot of work to do. The cycle continued. The broken learned to become unbreakable. And across the galaxy, raiders learned to fear one thing above all else. The stations where humans train the failures, because those failures always fought the hardest.